This podcast is rated PG-13. Parents strongly cautioned. Some material may be inappropriate for children under 13.
Mission 215.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we are watching every movie on the top 250 movies of all time list, according to IMDb, in reverse order. I am one of your hosts, Denny.
And I'm John.
And I'm TC.
And this week we are doing number 236, which is the 2014 movie, The Imitation Game, directed by Morten Tyldum. The synopsis of this movie is, during World War II, mathematician Alan Turing tries to crack the Enigma code with help from fellow mathematicians. This week, it is John's turn to go first. John, what did you think of this movie?
Is this the most recent film we've watched?
I think so. Right?
I think it is. Anyway, it's like, yeah, it has the record so far.
Well, 2014 Guardians of the Galaxy also came out that year.
Okay. So
tied, I guess.
Tied, at least. All right, so this movie makes me very angry.
Really?
So we can get into this later, but the Alan Turing is an amazing historical figure. He's like, you can call him the father of modern day computers, and they don't bother to tell a story accurately. Or even close to accurately. So there's some things that we can talk about later that really are upsetting to me. So
okay, because I'm just quickly, I'm under the impression that I know of a few things that are different, but most of it seemed pretty accurate to real life. But we can talk about that later. But
we can talk about that.
Keep going.
So other than that, I mean, it's great that a lot of people got to at least hear some of his story. He's a tragic figure that did so much to help in the war effort, and then was prosecuted for being homosexual and sentenced to chemical castration or prison. He had to choose one or the other. It's not clear if it was a suicide, if that led to a suicide. He didn't commit suicide until a year after he stopped the chemical castration. And like the movie implies that it was while he was taking the chemicals that he committed suicide.
No, even like in the commentary, the writer and director insist that he committed suicide, which is strange.
Yeah, well, I think that what they want to do is they have a certain story that they really would love to tell, and there's certain stereotypes and characteristics and ways they want to make this a tragedy, and they want to do that at the expense of the truth of the character, and that's why I get sort of angry.
Is that just to be as broad as possible, is that really the end of his life? Is that the part that bothers you the most, the inaccuracy there?
No, there's a number of things.
Okay.
But I don't know if I want to go into it. Or if we can
let's save that. Let's get first impressions.
So otherwise, the film was competently made, I guess. I didn't really notice, I wasn't really struck by the cinematography or the sound. There's a lot of opportunity to really give you the sense of the war in the background, and the scenes where they tried to do that, I don't know. I wasn't really struck by them. Cumberbatch, I love. Anything, he's fun to watch, no matter what he does almost. And so he was still interesting to watch. And
was Kira's face still scary to you?
Not as bad. She didn't smile as much in this movie. So you didn't get to see the teeth so much, teeth. Right? There's a couple of scenes where you can just see how thin her arms are, and it's a little scary. But other than that, no. I mean, she plays, to her credit, she plays a much more subdued role here. She's not here to be the glamorous, sexy, cheerful woman that she is sometimes. So she plays it very straight as his friend. Mm-hmm. And that's my take so far. I don't know.
So John, you hadn't seen this before, and TC, you'd never seen this before either.
No, never seen it before.
What did you think of it?
I liked it. I had no information, so don't know who the guy is.
You felt like you learned something, but now?
But I had no idea who this guy was. Couldn't care less. Didn't even look it up while I was watching it. So I don't know if the movie did good or bad on that one, because I didn't care whatsoever. I was actually playing golf while I was watching this one.
What? How?
I was playing PlayStation 4. And when I get bored with it, I'd be like, all right, and I'd hit a few balls, and then I'd watch back, and all right, yeah, it's just
nice.
So yeah, I know I never got into it, but I didn't hate it by any means. I think John was right. It was competently made. There were no glaring mistakes that I found as far as cinematography. Everything was nice and shot well. It was very still camera, so
yeah.
I mean, it was just sort of shot for shot. The story I had no idea about, so I couldn't tell if they were telling me the truth or not. It was kind of cool, I guess, because it's Germany and.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm dumb, so I don't know anything about
Hey,
these
I mean,
things.
I went into this movie not knowing anything about it too. I saw it in the theaters when it came out in 2014, and I remember liking it a lot more the first time I watched it. And I probably because it was in the theater, I guess that I usually like things better when they're in the theater.
Oh yeah.
I still really liked it this time though, a lot. Like I think I like Keira Knightley way more than you guys do. I like Benedict Cumberbatch a lot too.
He's great.
Mark Strong is always really good in things. The general who's in like Game of Thrones, I don't know what his name is. He's really good.
Oh yeah. He's the Lannister. He's like the head Lannister there. That's where we knew him. He's great. He has such a presence.
He's got a good
him.
face and like a good voice. He doesn't really act that much. He just looks really intense.
No, but he looks like somebody who is in command.
Yeah,
and he was that way in Game of Thrones too. So that's where we didn't really quite place him right away. But that totally makes sense now. Like we were who is that guy? He's in charge.
Yeah.
He looks cool.
I've seen him before. I don't know where I've seen him before. I love the score, and it's kind of
the score was good.
Yeah, and I think I mispronounced it, but I'm going to keep mispronouncing it like Joffrey. I call him Alexander Desplat because that's how you would read it, but it's I was looking it up and it's Alexandre Desplat. But for the record, I'm never going to say it like that ever. So
I had no idea he committed suicide.
So he might not have. I don't know, John. Do you want to talk about this? Because there's no definite answer. Like this movie makes it out like there's a definite answer, but there isn't.
Why? When did they say anything about suicide? I watched that movie yesterday and had no idea he committed suicide.
Oh,
well, they implied it because they went straight from him going from like the hormonal therapy to him being found dead from cyanide poisoning.
Where?
At like in the cards at the end, right? Like he like turns the light off in his little computer room and then walks into the darkness and then it like fades to his partner's burning paper and stuff.
Yeah, but he's with them burning paper.
He is, but that was like the first night of the end of the war. And it like the other stuff was more in the future, like while he was getting the so there are like 3 timelines in this movie, right? There was the 20s, the 40s, and then the 50s. And then the 50s one.
I did not get that at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
They tried to make it, the filmmakers were like, yeah, we tried to make it like a puzzle, like, something he would like to figure out. And you're like, well, okay.
Ugh, God, no.
Okay.
No, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Just tell me, did he die or not? What the
Yeah. I mean, they implied it, but
they implied the writer of this book particularly really wanted it to be suicide because I think that's the story he wanted to tell. There are other people who say that it may have been more of an accident because he had cyanide in his lab and he may have just breathed the fumes.
And some people say it could have been murder because they don't know. Like the investigation.
Yeah, he left no note. I mean, it's
no, he
really
did.
not
There was
clear.
a note. It was about what he was going to do the upcoming holiday weekend.
Well, that's not a suicide note.
No, I know. It's opposite
That's
of a
what he's
suicide
saying.
note.
That's what I meant, though. He left no suicide note. Let me say,
Right.
Right. Dear cruel world, this weekend I'll be visiting my aunt.
I have to get clementines because they're in season for 2 more weeks.
Someone tell Terrence that they're going to imply I committed suicide, please.
Yeah.
No, but then there's other theories that also say he did it intentionally, ambiguously, so his mother wouldn't be able to tell whether or not he committed suicide. So there's a bunch of theories floating around.
So there's a bunch of theories, but I think that it's just, I think the movie wanted you to believe that during the course of hormonal therapy, he killed himself. I think the movie makes decisions like this several times where they want to tell a certain story and screw whatever his life really was or what kind of person he really was. And that's kind of all the while like patting themselves on the back for telling this great man's story. So I think that's kind of what's so upsetting and annoying about that is they don't care what the facts are, but yet they laud themselves for what, this is a great man's story who must be told. He, for example, had a sense of humor. He was not Asperger's or autistic the way the movie tries to portray him as. He actually was known for his pranks. He was known to be able to relate to other people. He was a little aloof at times, but he was not like this kind of autistic, like savant kind of character that the movie decides to play him as. So they chose to do this. They wanted to play him up as some kind of stereotype. They decided to do this, just like you had the fat kid eating food all the time or something. And so it's really annoying that they decided to do this, and they're like then at the same time wanting to celebrate this great man, and they don't really they don't care who he really was. So they want to just tell this kind of story that fits in with people's stereotypes, that if you're a genius, you're not going to be able to understand things like humor or other people. And that's not true.
I mean, that's all really good points. As far as these types of movies go, I thought, at least from my perspective, I agree with you that stuff, it's kind of weird how they would do that, but to add it, to make it more, I guess they would, I don't know. I don't know what it would take away if they just made it exactly accurate.
Right. What if they tried to show who, because they'll tell you they'll say these stupid things like what you just said, Denny, and we wanted you to really experience what it was like to, to be Alan Turing or to experience interacting with Alan Turing, but screw who he really was.
Yeah. But I mean, it does kind of show what he did, Well, no, I mean, it's certainly there's some facts in terms of what he actually did. But the other thing that was really annoying is they also then implied that there was this Russian spy there there really was a Russian spy at Bletchley. But he didn't work with him.
No, he didn't work with him.
Yeah.
And so the movie goes out of its way to create this scene where, in fear for being revealed as a homosexual, he doesn't reveal that there is a Russian spy. He turns traitor out of fear for revealing of his homosexuality. What a terrible thing to say. So that means that homosexuals shouldn't be trusted in the military because their homosexuality can be used against them.
Oh, wow.
And they will happily... or not happily, but they will not. They will be able to have that sort of secret used against them, and they would do it so that to the extent that they wouldn't reveal another.
I didn't think
spy.
of the implication of that. That's
well, yeah,
that's pretty deep.
Screw them. It's a terrible thing that was the kind of character that Alan Turing was. That he would be so fearful for himself, and again, it was. Homosexuals were prosecuted and it was a terrible thing and it was awful, but they imply something about his character, that's what he would do. He would be fearful of being exposed as a homosexual, so he would allow a Russian agent to exist deep inside British intelligence.
Yeah, that's you're right.
Wow.
That's kind of shady.
Wow, I didn't think about it that way.
Talk about poetic license you don't have.
Well, but then to say what you do is you respect the man. So, but you're willing to make up things for the sake of the story you want to tell that actually make the man look worse than he may actually be?
John is pissed.
John's
I'm a little
mad.
pissed.
How about how I was playing golf? I knew I should have looked into this one more. I just remember seeing the previews for this one and being like, nah, it's not gonna like this one. And then watching it and being like, nah.
I think my warning might have turned you off a little bit too.
Not interested. And then I kept being not interested. I knew I was screwed when he was like, you're going to want to listen carefully and really pay attention. I was like, I'm
It's
out.
like, oh no.
Can we
I'm
talk
done.
about
And that was like the first line of the movie.
Yeah. What does that even mean? How does
Talk
that
about
make
the
sense?
condescending attitude that John was talking about. This guy's like a
Right.
dick who can't get along with everybody. So he's going to be like, you better listen because you're going to be so stupid. Well, you're right. I am going to be dumb. I'm done. Watching
Right.
golf.
And it's not that clear that's the kind of person that he was, but yet this is what they want to set it up as he's an arrogant bastard who doesn't understand other people.
Well,
And
I wonder if it's something that that they're dealing with as far as culture, because you'll notice on television too, that's what they always have, those geniuses, right? Like on
Right.
Criminal Minds, they got the savant who's just incapable of being normal, doesn't get a joke.
Right, that helps us feel better about ourselves, right?
But that's what we as Americans think the people that
Yeah.
are smart are, because most of us are pretty damn middle class dumb.
Yeah,
And you got, like, anybody
then
who's
we don't
smart.
then we don't have to feel bad and go, well, I'm not a genius, but hey,
Yeah.
at least I can
I got
relate
friends,
to other people. Right, exactly. If I was a genius, I wouldn't have friends. So I got
I'd be
that
an
going
asshole.
for me. I agree. I think that's what it is. It's like it's playing sort of to a populist idea that then other people can watch it and feel good about themselves. It's a little bit like The Help, the way the racism sort of was annoying because it was so unrealistic. And it played to our emotions,
We can agree that this movie's better than The Help, though.
Oh God, I mean,
Maybe, John? No?
Well,
Yeah,
no.
absolutely.
I think just because the historical story that it still tells more or less is interesting, right?
And it's pretty accurate. Like if you took the structure of what happened, it's
no,
pretty
I mean,
close.
And where are you getting this? So it was never Turing's sole endeavor.
Right.
It was a group of people working on the machine. The machine was never named after his friend. It was named Victory or something like that.
Yeah, but what was interesting about that? So he named it Christopher, and that's not, he named it because of his first love in school.
Which is all untrue.
All untrue, but what they don't mention in the movie is that Alan Turing, actually believed that people's souls had some type of like immeasurable matter to them, and that when people died, their soul detached from their body and then sometimes immediately jumped or took a little bit of time to jump to something else. So he believed that Christopher was like in the machines that he created.
Really?
Yeah.
That I don't know. That one I didn't hear. Really?
Right. Yeah. I read that. I mean, I read that online.
It's got to be true.
It's got to be true.
Absolutely got to be true.
No, it was on BBC.com. So I mean, if you can't trust that, I don't know.
Maybe true.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought that was kind of cool.
shit.
So they added that in, but they removed. It kind of plays into some other truth that they didn't mention in the movie.
Is this why this movie's on the 250? Just because of the story that didn't actually take place in the movie? 'Cause I mean, I didn't think the movie was all that like, special.
Yeah, I mean,
probably
It
the
was
story.
done off of like a cookie cutter, like really good production value film.
Yeah. I don't know. The story was really. I mean, there wasn't anything to it really besides the story.
Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, and yeah, I think it's, and again, I think you're right that if you don't know anything about this story, it's pretty fascinating to learn about it, to learn about this idea of that there's this code that's nearly unbreakable, and you have this group of people working on it, and that if they break it, then the other side of it, which is really fascinating, like you break it, but then you can't tell anybody that you broke, and you can't let the Germans know you broke it. So you have to figure out how to do that. Which, by the way, they weren't in charge of deciding what actions to take.
Right. I mean, that's absurd that they would assume that
I
code
thought that
breakers.
was so dumb.
So
that wasn't. They weren't like sitting there. Yeah.
But I did. So when I first watched it, I was like TC. I knew zero about this guy. I had heard of Turing machines before, but I had no idea what the man did. So when I left the theater the first time, I went home and like read about it immediately, and I was happy about like pretty much every big plot point in this movie happened in real life. More so than most biopic movies that ever come out, really.
Oh, what? So
no, you disagree with that?
This is great. I'm not even going to do it again. I'm just going to listen.
Okay, let's hear it, John.
So it actually happens. Where did I see this on Reddit? I need to find this site again.
Can I go through all the stuff that is true with the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Right?
Yeah,
is
sure.
that good? So he did. He went to that school they showed there. He fell in love with a kid called Christopher. Christopher did die of bovine tuberculosis from drinking bad milk or something. I don't know how you get that, but something like that.
Sounds terrifying.
He did hold on to that character his entire life. He ended up I read that he wrote the Christopher's mother letters until he died. So he was still in communication with that family.
Yeah, and good friends with them.
Good friends with them, yeah. He got all the dates where they mentioned, like where he got his fellowship, where he wrote his first paper, all that stuff was true. The age he joined was true. The day after they announced, oh, by the way, like when they had the King's speech in this movie. Do you guys see that? Notice that?
Yeah. They had the king stuttering there.
Yeah, the actual
king
King's
that was
speech.
like, yeah.
Was in it when he was getting on the train, and that day when when he was leaving, there were so many kids in that train because they evacuated 800,000 kids from London, I guess, like whatever city he was in. They were evacuating them to the suburbs for safety, and that was like the day after he announced it was the first day of his work. So he was the only adult person going in the same direction all the kids were going, because that institute whatever was out in like the suburbs in England. Every single person besides the detective was a real person. Some people were like two people mixed into one for script's sake. Most of the dates they had, all the dates they said were accurate on when things happened. His relationship with the girl was mostly true. Her parents didn't really play into it, but a lot of the love stuff was there. A lot of
her turning him down was completely fabricated, though. Him trying to push her away out of concern for her safety.
No, it wasn't for her safety. It was for her parents. That parents thing wasn't there.
Yeah. Right. And the thing for her safety wasn't there either.
Right.
That wasn't true.
It was just him pushing her away because I couldn't really find why he did.
He's gay.
No, but she knew that. Like he did tell her he was gay, and they were okay with that for like a little bit of the engagement, but he finally broke it off. And they actually, so the last scene with her in it, where she's going to visit him during the hormonal therapy,
Which
she never
did.
visited him again. But
Right.
they, he did try to like rekindle her relationship later. Like they were still friends afterwards, even though they might not have ever seen each other after that, their interaction at the institution place.
Yeah. They didn't have the big blowout the way they describe it, which again, I felt like that moment, even watching the movie, was annoying. That felt like this stupid dramatic twist.
Yeah, it did seem
Or
like a
he's-
very Oscar-y type of movie.
Yeah.
It had all like the big like speeches, like this is where this character turns around and he needs
I think it was kind of cookie cutter. That's what I mean by that too. Not just shot.
Right. Or
related,
this
but
is where
like
they all hated him originally, but now they stand up for him. When
Right,
again,
right,
that's not,
right. That was
you know,
such bullshit too, and I didn't buy any of that shit.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm swearing all over the place, but
No,
I didn't
this is
buy
our.
any of that.
This is our.
Oh. No,
It's
it's
good.
PG-13.
Oh, is it PG-13?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Well,
you can say
Denny,
shit though. You can say
You
shit.
got some beeping to do.
So I thought that was pretty dumb because I know I'm a guy, and when guys screw you over like that, yeah, screw him. I'm not helping him. What the hell is he talking about? Helping him?
He never wrote to Churchill to like become he was never in charge.
No,
of
but
things,
they did
That
as a
was-
group. They did.
Well, they wrote because they needed more resources,
Right,
and they
correct.
promptly got them.
Yes,
But it wasn't about like put
Right.
Turing in charge.
so
right?
a lot of the stuff was like massaged a little.
So the movie,
Yeah.
when the movie tried to have these big dramatic points, it just made stuff up. I mean, you're right. There,
Hollywood.
Like, in between, there was a lot of facts that it got, that were dates and things that happened that it got right, and you're right. But anytime it really tried to make its big dramatic points, it made stuff up.
Or twisted things, like took things that
Yeah, or
existed
twisted
and then
things.
made them like it was close but not the same.
Right?
Well, I mean,
right.
I'm sure some of the arguments would be this isn't A&E, or this isn't this isn't a friggin' history film.
No,
This is a
you're right.
straight
You're
up
right.
movie with like we're gonna make stuff up. It's a movie.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. So the point is like, are you just doing easy stuff where you're just gonna manipulate the audience and come up with big dramatic payoffs, regardless of being true to the characters who you claim
I think that
be
it
loyal
seems like
to?
there might be some executives involved that are very much for the marketing populace.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's the point where it starts to really sour, where I think, if you're making you're dramatizing something and you're wanting to just sort of basically you're just making the decision to thrill the audience, and you're doing that without regard for historical accuracy or being true to the characters themselves.
What you could think too is that like added depth of him killing himself, allegedly because he was being discriminated against because he was gay, could be
Right.
something they wrote in there because this came out in 2014. The year before this, Queen Elizabeth publicly pardoned Turing,
Right.
whatever good that does. But I mean, it was brought out.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, he's dead, so who cares? But
Posthumously.
yeah, but he could, I don't know, the screenwriter might have been trying to, and it did work, try to write something in that's kind of pro-gay culture.
Right.
Which is, it's a good thing, obviously, and it could.
I guess it's, but the point is like you're manipulating the facts for an agenda, for a
Yes.
purpose. But again, it's a movie, and that's fine, I guess. But then don't turn around and tell us you're being historically accurate and that you venerate the man Turing, because that's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah.
See, I think
then
you value more of Turing than the mass audience is going to value of him.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem.
and that's why I'm mad. Like I
Yeah.
really like have
Personally,
your
your threshold for what this is worth is way higher than the people who
right.
created this.
Well, and that's true. This is somebody
trying to
that
sell the
I've-
movie, for people who have no clue like me.
and you can make the point of, I guess, well, better that people get some idea what this guy was like than no idea at all.
But however, I will say this to sort of play devil's advocate there. I'm a person that has no friggin' clue, and even I was like, it's all good, whatever. I don't care.
And I
So,
didn't know,
is
and I
it-
really liked it.
Is it worth it to try and manipulate, hoping that you'll gain an audience that doesn't know? Or should you stick to the original story as much as possible so that if the person that doesn't really care does watch it and pays attention, then they actually know the true story?
Right. Why can't you do both and still make an entertaining film?
Because maybe
You
real
can.
life isn't as good. Like no one's ever taken exactly what's
No,
happened
I
and
think
made it
you
into
can.
a movie.
I think you can. I think John's saying that they had a very important thing to do while they made this movie, and they didn't quite come up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could argue like, and I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to think of other movies, that are character studies, kind of, or of men that have done great things or have done very significant things.
The King's Speech.
Yeah. So there is a website called informationisbeautiful.net. And there's one section here. I'll link this to you guys, and maybe we'll put it up on the website or something.
Is that gluten free? Because it certainly sounds like it.
Yeah. You're totally right. This is. I'm sure this is San Francisco based. But
anyway, sorry, go on.
Anyway, they have basically a scene-by-scene breakdown of Hollywood films and their accuracy when these Hollywood films claim to be based on a true story. And they give you a percentage of what scenes were accurate.
And what does this sit at? What's its percentage?
This is the lowest out of all the movies that were reviewed.
What?
It sucks.
Right? So like The King's Speech was 73.4%.
Not bad.
No, not bad. The Imitation Game was 41.4%.
Not bad.
Less than half.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Not bad.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Like one of the most accurate,
Not bad.
like Spotlight was 81.6.
Ooh.
The Big Short was 91.4.
Not bad.
Selma was 100% accurate.
Holy
but interestingly,
shit.
Because
How
it
does
was
that even happen?
It was controversial, right?
It was, yeah.
American Sniper was 56.9.
What? American Sniper was more than this? Did you guys see that
Yeah.
movie? There's no way that was that
sucks.
true.
All right, well,
Denny's really rethinking his look.
Yeah.
On
the
this one.
website's cool because it tells you each scene where they scored it, and they tell
Now,
you
who
what
are
the fact
these
versus fiction
scumbags
was.
thinking they can tell you what's accurate and what's not? That's
I
what wanna know.
don't know. It's interesting, but
That's that's a ballsy thing to say.
certainly, for example, like with Turing's life, there's a lot that's known.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's actually factually known about the guy.
So were you a big fan of this guy before you even like saw this movie or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, the Turing test, you learn about this guy if you study computer science or cognitive science. And you even if you do that, even if you're like happen to be interested in science fiction or artificial intelligence, you learn about the Turing test.
I mean, you got Blade
which
Runner,
is-
right? There's like that interview with the replicant there. That's that.
Yeah, the
Ex
Voight
Machina
test or whatever.
It's like what it's based on. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see, you're already at least going to have some idea of this guy where he's was so ahead of his time in terms of not only thinking about computers as they are now, but what it's going to lead us to, like thinking about artificial intelligence and things like that. And that's pretty spectacular for the time. Again, without arguably somebody else would have done it, but for the time, he's the guy that really kicked off the invention of computers as we know it. And he conceptualized them, and then people started working on things that were Turing machines. And so he is, I think, arguably could be called the father of modern computers.
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot of
So
stuff
let's
that
just
came
make
before
up
that
a bunch
they
of stuff
built on.
about him and make a movie. Seems like the best idea to me. He's gay.
So,
That's all
John,
we got to put in
he's
there.
gay.
That's
John.
it. That's it. All we got to put in there is he's
gay,
gay.
killed
That's it.
himself, also didn't want to give himself away, so he let a Russian spy exist
Right,
in the
he lived
British
a Russian
service.
spy,
So what it did do is it got, like, for at least me personally, it if this movie didn't exist, I wouldn't know that it was somewhat false. Like I now know about him and then read into him and all this stuff.
That's the argument. If you do a popular piece on the guy, I just don't understand why it was necessary to make those decisions they did for
I
the sake
honestly
of
don't
drama.
think that. I mean, you're heavily invested in his character, and the character and the dialogue stuff and the exact things people say to each other doesn't really matter too much to me in terms of it trying to be like a real historical thing. Like I don't know. I would like to see what they're judging the actual events on in that website, because most of it is mostly true. Like it's not less than 50% true.
Well, I mean, you can look at it scene by scene and kind of see what you think at that point.
Yeah, but if you're going to say
do
like if the Cumberbatch and the Keira Knightley scene where they break up, is that one of the, like, that percentage of the movie
Sure.
is just false? It's like, who cares? You know, it's
Right.
like a fake drama in a historically
who
accurate.
cares? It's
sense
like,
of
well,
drama. You know?
Right. But then part of it is like, and that's fine. But then you're saying, are you selling your audience that this is a true story? You know, are you selling it to your audience that we're giving you an honest account of the facts?
No, because they said based on a true story.
Well,
did
they
they
say based
sell
on a true story, but they also then like to talk about honoring the guy. But then you can leave the audience with the impression that a lot of common sorts of things, like first, you know, like things like, oh, well, if you're smart, you obviously can't relate to people like other people. So if you're a genius,
Right, well, you're a
that's just what
genius,
has
so
to
you
happen.
can't even say
so
hello.
they reinforce that stereotype. Then they also like paint him as a person who is a coward in some ways when he wasn't. Being blackmailed for his homosexuality, so not revealing.
And also, he was never
things
accused
like
as being a spy himself.
right.
That never happened.
No. He would never have taken work home with him. Things like that they say he did. You know, in the movie. So you're right. I mean, I guess you have poetic license to do whatever you want with the person, but I wonder why. So on one hand, you're sullying the character of the man and misrepresenting him on one hand. On the other hand, it's really not clear why, other than being lazy and just conforming to some stereotypes, why that makes a better dramatic story.
They've got to have
I
some
agree.
research on
I don't
it
know.
with like populist marketing. Like we market this in a
If
certain
this
way.
movie really impacted me, or if I really was drawn into it and moved by it, then maybe I could see that side. I was sort of like distanced from it when I watched
yeah.
it. You know,
I was playing 18.
Wow.
You know?
So if they crafted a movie here that really drew me in and really had me thinking or at least emotionally involved, then I think you're right, Denny. Right? That's kind of the point where that's what your job is as a filmmaker, right? Is to get people involved and emotionally invested and so forth.
Right.
And you can make that argument if like you were involved. I don't know, would you have been less emotionally invested if this guy actually had a sense of humor? If this guy actually could relate to other people?
Maybe,
As
yeah.
he
It would
did in
have
real
been
life?
less conflict. Would have been less conflict in the movie.
There would have been less conflict in the movie.
So
for
it would have
sure.
been right. So I guess you're right.
You figure you only
maybe-
got an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right. So,
you know.
so make it so this guy has no sense of humor and doesn't understand humor because that's how smart he
I'm
is.
sure some of the truthfulness of it, like, so for instance, like I was reading a script lately and my friend talked about it, and he talked a lot about how there wasn't a lot of tension between the characters. So I
Right.
think that there's these conversations that happen after the script's been written, I'm sure, that say there's not enough tension. We have to build something up. Nobody's going to come watch this, and it's not going to sell for hundreds of millions unless we do all this.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's true, but I think it's lazy. It's also
Well,
lazy.
it's lazy, but
Yeah.
it's also like the part
That's
of the
your
game,
job.
right? Like if
Yeah.
you've got this thing that's sold and your contract's already written, and then people are like, "Look, we need more tension here. We have to do
Yeah.
it. This is all your money that's been given to you has been given to us by us. Therefore,
right.
we want more tension in these characters." And
Right,
then it
right.
ends
It's
up being
where's,
like
where's the conflict?
and then it doesn't matter realistically what the director intended on, you know?
Or even if like they're in dailies or whatever, they're like, okay, well, he needs to be more
Right,
He needs
absolutely.
to be more weird. He's not
And
weird
it
enough.
seems like it got Hollywood somewhere
Maybe.
along the way, because I mean, I'm sure that when they started this project, they were like, we're going to do something to bring a name to this guy. And then as it went on, it seems like, you know, it just, like you said, it was kind of like it hit all the right notes for it to be like a successful movie. But it
Yeah.
just didn't have the authenticity to get through it. So that, to me, that screams corporate BS. And some asshole
Right.
in there being like, we need more tension or we need more this. And then them being like, all right, fine. What are we going to do? We already have it optioned off. We've already got the thing fucking sold. Like we're
Yeah.
already in production.
Well, it
And
sounds
these-
like so.
these
This,
assholes, you know?
this movie is
well,
one of the,
I think that's a good point. Before we move on though,
No.
just to kind of, I think
I was
explore
going
that
to
too.
comment on that too, but go ahead.
Oh, okay, go ahead. No, I'm sorry, Danny. You
No
go
problem.
first.
So speaking of corporate stuff and like all that, the writer was on the movie the entire time they were filming it. The one writer who won the Oscar for it. And that it seems like the movies we've watched, that's always a good thing when like the original writer is on the project during the filming, so he
Right,
can like,
and able to adapt.
right, able to adapt
Yeah.
and able to see his vision like through. You know, it's
Right.
not up to somebody else to interpret what his intentions were and all that stuff. So I'm not
That's
sure how.
true.
And it was kind of a low budget movie too, so I don't know. I couldn't guess how much corporate had to do with anything, but that's just information I wanted to throw out there.
Probably quite a bit, I bet.
Yeah,
Because even though the writer's on set, dude, the execs are having a daily update on everything that's going on. So
yeah,
if they're getting dailies back and then, yeah, they're just having the writer change things. The writer's just there because he'll write it in the same sort of persona that he's already done the rest of the script in, but
Yeah.
he still has to answer to his boss, who is the one that's funding all of this or that's doing, you know what I'm saying? Like,
True.
Right.
I mean, I still feel like for this type of movie to be so well crafted, but not to be kind of like, I don't know, with the content not really up to par to what like the production value of it,
Mhm.
you got to wonder if it's more than just someone screwing up the story, or if it's too many people, too many cooks,
Too many cooks.
and
Yeah.
you know, not enough someone being like, no, screw you, it's not being like that. He never did that. We're not putting that in.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just riffing. I could be completely
Yeah,
wrong.
no.
What the hell?
I think that's really an important thing. It's easy to sit back and just judge it at the end of the day and compare it to the what's factually known about the man and
Right.
and be pissed.
Yeah,
which again,
for
it's hard
sure.
for me not to be when this is somebody.
No, you have every
know-
right to be pissed.
Well,
my
sure,
friend,
if somebody you admire is portrayed incorrectly,
Yeah, that sucks.
and incorrectly in a negative way, then it's sort of annoying. But at the same time, the process of making a film and the demands of making a film are such that things like this happen, right? Like you could see, like, you got to make this, like you said, DC. Like if you think about it, it's possible that without these decisions, there wasn't enough tension in the film, and so or enough like. Like they wanted this, like maybe they were like, well, there's got to be conflict between Turing and the rest of his team, right?
Right,
There's gotta
because
be-
you only have
we-
like 6 characters.
Right. We got to
So,
have some
like-
tension there. We got to have him not like him at first, but he's likable. Oh no, let's stop there. Let's say he doesn't have a sense of humor.
So you're getting it.
Right? So, but again, that's the point. So you can set, because they want two things. We need that tension first, and then we need to have this scene where they all stand up with Turing, right? That's going to be pretty cool. So we got to figure out how to
character
get that
arc.
tension.
That's a
right,
character
exactly.
arc, you know?
Right.
It's a-
And I will
So
say,
without-
before I say what I'm about to say, just want to reiterate, even though we seem to be hating on this, I really like this movie. So first of all, that. And then, but the second one, so speaking of that, when I think probably the worst part of the movie is what you're talking about, where they kind of somehow, and please tell me if this made more sense to you, get behind him eventually. As far as I
Right.
could tell, it was the 30-second scene of him giving them apples and telling a bad joke.
Right.
And that's terrible.
It was not a good way
There
to
was
transition.
nothing that he did that would lend them to back him up and basically not narc him out like
Yeah.
they could have.
No,
Right.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
that was like
it wasn't clear. They didn't give you enough indication that they also believed in his ideas. So all of a sudden they buy full on into his
All of a
ideas,
sudden.
and it wasn't clear
Yeah.
that they were.
Yeah, there was no
they-
evidence, right? There was no evidence.
No, it's like, there was a scene where they were about to unplug it, and then they do the I am Spartacus thing, right? Where it's like, you have to fire me. You have to fire me.
Right, exactly.
And then they're
God.
like, he is right, though. And you're like, how do you know he's right? Like, you know as much as you did before, and his
Right.
computer thing still doesn't work. So,
And
like,
then they tried to make it a joke as if like the guy gambled on him. He's like, you better be right
Yeah,
about your machine.
I'm just gonna
like,
laugh. I'm
that's such a
smug.
cop out.
yeah.
Yeah, it's such a cop out.
Right,
But
right.
again, these are things that are in there based on like previous movies with story arcs in the same caliber.
Yeah, I should. I wish I could always. I need to like watch for those to happen again, so I can always think of Rocket Raccoon going, "Here we are, bunch of jackasses,
A bunch of jackasses just sitting here. Yeah,
They're all
seriously.
standing up for you."
Because I really thought the like color was good. I felt like the sound was just succinct. You know, everything was good.
All the acting was good. You know, I
right.
didn't really-
Like everything.
None of the characters
was definitely
bothered
there.
me.
It just didn't have the story.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about the story. And now that I'm knowing all this, I'm like, they left out a ton of crap. They could have done a lot more with this. I mean, if you figure it's going to be like the one in time in 10 or 15 years that they do a story about this now, right?
Yeah,
It's the movies. They do it once, okay, 15 years go by, they'll try again. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you get for another while. By that time, we'll be old men.
And so will Cumbersnatch.
He was good, though,
Yeah.
as usual.
He's
He
really
is
good.
always. I don't know if he's ever been bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys. Danny said you haven't seen this, but the Sherlock BBC series.
Oh, I've seen all those. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
he was
great.
so good in those.
I just feel like
Um,
having such a good, like him and Keira Knightley have such proper and good accents that it just,
Right.
I don't know whether to trust whether or not they're good actors.
Right,
not.
that alone. Yeah,
They just sound
that
like
alone.
actors.
Right. They sound like they know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
just by-
sound a lot like Hitler's.
So some people argue that's why Britain almost took over the whole world at one point. They
Because
just
of how-
came in and
do they
talked the
sound
way
better?
they do.
Yeah. What is it about that accent? It's so
well,
good.
all right then.
It sounds dignified.
Well, you want
Yeah.
this? It's mine. Oh, well, fine. You can have it, I
That's
guess.
mine. Okay,
yeah,
you're right.
well,
It is.
when
I'm
you
sorry.
put it that way, okay.
So MI6, everyone knows what MI6 is now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Did people not know what MI6 were back in the 40s?
Apparently, they made it.
I
They
guess
made a big
not.
deal of saying that.
Yeah.
Well, MI5 is the only one that there is.
Right. But MI6 is like,
Maybe that's when MI6 began. It's this, CIA almost.
well, they said the guy, I forget who it was. Mark Strong's character, whatever his name was the guy that the character M in James Bond is based on.
Mm.
His
Oh,
name was
really?
like Mackenzie, I think was his last name. He was a real person. He was like a real high up espionage dude that somehow got outed. I don't know how they would have known because James Bond was like the early 60s when it started doing its thing. But that's what they based it on. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how all that got out, but
Yeah, it's not our country, so I have no idea.
Yeah. It was a good. I mean, that was sort of interesting, and that character also. What was the actor there playing the MI6 guy? He was pretty good too. He was very striking.
which one? The guy that hid in the corners all the time?
Yeah,
That's the one
yeah.
I'm talking about. That's Mark Strong.
Mark Strong. Okay,
Yeah.
what else has he been in?
He was in Kick-Ass.
Kick-ass, yeah, with a similar kind of role almost.
Yeah, he always
like
plays kind of like a
Yeah.
soft-spoken either good guy or bad guy. He always seems a little
Boss.
evil, though. Yeah, always the boss.
Yeah, always the boss.
I like his last name because he's got like a strong face.
Yeah, he does have a strong. Well, kind of like Kiera there.
Yeah,
A
very
strong face.
jagged.
Ooh, only a face only a grandmother could love.
Do you guys not like Kira? You not think
I
she's
don't
good
like
looking?
her. I think
Why?
she looks like a boxer.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Mm.
a little square face.
John, same.
I don't dislike her personally, but
I'm
she
really
just-
being more of an asshole just because
I
we're
just
doing this
get
on
more
the podcast.
scared of how skinny she is, and then when the teeth are scary, they're so big.
She does have the teeth, man.
Hey, I got
no
a couple questions for you guys if you're ready
Shoot.
for these. I was a little
All right.
confused by the structure especially so the pay attention thing. He was talking to the
Hated that.
police officer that was interrogating him, right?
Right.
What was
Right.
I understand that, but what he says in that conversation doesn't make any sense,
No.
right? Because he doesn't have any control over what's
No,
happening.
I think that again they were just trying. Again, they were trying to have some really cool dramatic setup for his character, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't make any sense. Here he's sitting down there accused of homosexuality or soliciting, and it's like why is he giving this monologue this way? This makes no sense.
It would be cool if it was
right.
like if some speech that would have made sense and also addressed the audience, which is what it was doing at the same time.
Yes.
But it doesn't make sense in the other way, like towards
Right,
the
where
person.
he's addressing he's addressing this detective,
Right.
or whatever.
And
it is,
honestly, it
right?
sounded like such a voiceover. I would never have known that it was
Yeah,
talking
I
to the
agree.
cop.
I agree that too. At the same time, it seemed like such a rehearsed voiceover. It didn't feel like in any way that was a conversation they were having.
No,
Right.
not at all.
So it even that seemed really weird. I think they were just trying to make it be like they were trying to give you this sense as an audience member that you're about to see something really fascinating and complex and something that Turing had architected.
Well, I think the way that they set the movie up, they kept mentioning in the commentary, and I can get into that soon. Some interesting stuff from that. But the writer and director are really, really proud about how they set the movie up with the 3 different timelines and how they normally gave like certain reveals that you would give early on in the movie towards the end and all that type of thing. They think of the way it's set up as a puzzle in itself, which I didn't really get at all.
I did not see this movie as like
The
a complex.
ego involved in saying something like that is
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
I don't know. I did not see like that boy dying or tragedy happening in the relationship or that being, clearly this was going to be a significant influence on his life. That's why we're seeing this, right? So
Yeah.
something's going to happen. I thought I didn't know how he would die. I thought he might get beat up beaten to death because he was gay or who knows what.
Right.
But you sort of, none of this was like, it wasn't this intricate sort of thing. And fine. I guess they can be proud of that if they want, but that certainly, I didn't take that away from the movie at all. I mean, that was not something I watched. When I talked about it, we all sort of said it's competently made. I didn't see it as intricately made.
Right.
Yeah.
Or pushing the buttons. Or
Yeah.
I mean,
groundbreaking.
if you compare it to if you just had made it, chronologically, it's more complex than that. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
other movies do this type of jump editing between timelines all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. This
Smash cut to this.
is nothing. Yeah. I mean, and this doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. I guess you're supposed to have this. Oh, the computer is what's his name, right? I guess that's the thing, right? Towards the end, and it's like, it just doesn't. It doesn't have impact.
Yeah. But it did for me a little bit once I learned that he did think in real life that his computer might have had the soul of his first and possibly only love.
That's really I have not heard anything about that, but that's
I can send you
interesting.
that article and we can double check at other places because I don't fucking trust the internet anymore at all.
I know,
Yeah,
but
me
that even if they'd have explored that a little bit, that would have been interesting. I don't think they even gave that much of a challenge, much of a thing, other than that he named this computer the way you might name
I think it was very
any other.
superficial. He
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
named it
exactly.
something.
They
That was
didn't
it.
give
They
a sense that there was a
right.
depth to him naming it, right?
Right,
Other than
right.
that,
But I mean,
this was
the way they
thing.
did it is better than him. Like, imagine if they had a scene, they could have easily done this where he was in the room by himself, just like leaning his head into the computer and patting it and being like, "I miss you, Christopher."
No.
I miss you, Christopher.
What you could have done
They're
though
never
is
going to
you
do
could-
that.
It
It's
would have been
horrible.
in there. It would have
It's
been in there.
horrible filmmaking.
Right,
there. That's terrible.
But he could have been talking to Keira Knightley about his spiritual beliefs, just saying, I sometimes I think that the spirits of the people that we know are important to us. They
Sometimes the
manifest.
toggle switch reminds me of Christopher.
There's
he
a
could
porch
have
in the
just-
back that doesn't have any purpose except for insertion.
just like Christopher.
Anyway, he could have just talked about his beliefs, and you could have made the connection yourself. And
Yeah.
that I think would have been a more subtle way of doing it.
I think a lot of the times, and this is again off of the top, this is from nothing. The screenwriters have a hard time conveying that sort of thing, John, in the screenplay. So they just go for something easier. So it would make,
Right.
guaranteed
Just name
make
it
sense.
Christopher.
It's his friend.
It's his friend. It's Chris.
Christopher the computer.
Chris.
It should have been
How you
named
doing, my
Christopher.
friend?
Yeah. King's Speech 2, Christopher the computer.
Nice.
This was very similar to the King's Speech. I don't know about you guys. Don't you think?
Really?
In terms of
World War II, lots of accents.
Yeah, lots of accents, same kind of
Same
music,
kind of framing.
same composer, same kind of framing, same kind of lighting,
Yeah.
same kind of
Yep.
clothing, same kind of settings.
Not nearly as artistically done as the King's Speech was, though.
You don't have
If
to argue
if
with
you
that.
think
Yeah, I agree.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you think
Plus,
about
though,
that,
different kind of vibe. One's science, one's personal. That's
Yeah.
a big difference. Easier to be dramatic when it's all personal.
that's true. But that doesn't mean you still can't really try to construct some really interesting shots or interesting
No, of course
sequences. The way they did in the King's Speech.
Right,
There was
right.
nothing here that was like.
No, it was very uncreative. To be
Yeah.
honest, it was very cookie cutter. It was very much like this is a film that has been, our punch list is based off of X and Y and Z of other films, and we're gonna hit all those parts.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm being probably overly grouchy just because I like touring.
No, I mean I thought about it too, and I wasn't even paying attention anymore. I just stopped caring. I watched the whole thing though. At
Yeah,
least I didn't
that's
fall
good.
asleep.
Good.
That's good.
Good
Yeah.
job. Good job.
Yeah. I did exactly what was expected of me.
While
And
playing
not a
golf.
not a second more.
Technically,
well,
one might say that you shouldn't be engaging actively in
Eh,
another
that was kinda
activity while
boring
you're watching.
sometimes,
I'm just
Move over
saying,
the thing,
technically,
hit a putt, get back.
I was right then. I knew you. John got through it without any problems because he was so pissed off the entire time. But I was right about
right.
TC, about it being a little bit boring.
Yeah, it's true.
If you're not in the mood.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
I was in the mood though. I took a nap. I woke up. I was ready. I was like, all right, we're gonna watch this thing. And then about halfway through, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get was it 18. Get an 18. Get an 18. Now I'm watching this. This is not easy. I can definitely do that. All right.
So if you guys were to guess what the budget of this movie was, what would you guess?
well, you had some big name actors.
Big name actors.
But not. It didn't feel like there was a lot of like the sets or the.
It seemed on location.
Right, but then again, King's Speech was cheap, and the sets seemed amazing.
Yeah.
So now I'm worried.
And The Help had a $25 million budget.
I was gonna say let's go with like 30 to 40 million, something like that.
I'll go 40. I'll go 40.
15 million.
Wow.
Oh
so even
damn!
cheaper.
All right.
It's the exact same as The King's Speech,
Wow.
which is
So
pretty
they
impressive.
really did do exactly the same kind of production.
And
Yeah.
most of that must have went into paying Kira and Cumberbatch.
I wonder if
think.
some of the same
Probably.
companies are involved.
Yeah, it's the Weinstein Company.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
They buy
so
all
even
the
still,
independent ones, and then
So you figure all the production companies they
Wow.
get.
So this is
are
another
pretty much
movie.
the same.
Again, maybe it's a similar. I mean, this is like the bank for them. Then they like made a ton of money off of this.
Oh, Weinstein makes.
yeah,
a ton
they
of
made
money all
it
the
was
time.
$233 million worldwide.
Oh my God! What a Jesus Christ! Can
They
you
buy
imagine
the
dinners
those
they had on
guys.
that one?
They buy movies for cheap, and then so this is a record breaking movie. They bought the Weinstein Company bought the European rights for this movie for $7 million, which is the highest of any movie at the time, which might still be the case because it was only 2 years ago. But and then they
So
make
is that included in the movie's budget then or no?
no, that's like all after.
All right then.
No, but that's
22
like-
million, sir.
That's
No, but
7
it's a
million
production
after
company. No, it's
the
a production
fact,
company. The
right?
movie was already
Oh.
made. They're buying the rights to
okay,
move it
okay,
around
sorry.
and make money from
Which
it.
isn't
Right,
just
right.
one thing too. It continues on the back end.
So they buy movies for money, and then they spend a lot of money promoting them. And they have
Exactly
like
what
you guys have
Amazon
heard of the
does.
Weinstein Company, right? They have
course.
like half of the movies that are ever nominated for Best Picture.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then they release them all in like November and December and January, and they promote the
Yep.
shit out of them for the Oscars, and then they end up making all of the money
Tons
back
of money.
by a lot.
All right.
yeah.
Wait, back to the topic
Back
at
to
hand,
this.
or can
Back
we-
to this.
I mean, we're almost done, right?
Yeah, we're almost done.
The movie's over.
Yeah, the movie's over. All right, so I got a few pretty cool things here. There were two train scenes in this movie. One of them was when Cumberbatch was like getting on with all the kids, and one of them was when him and Keira Knightley were going somewhere. I forget exactly. They shot both of those scenes with all of those extras on the same day on half of a platform of an actual train station.
Damn.
So they had to like set up the cameras in ways where they didn't see the other half of the platform. Platforms are not
Right.
big, you know? They're like,
Right.
what, like 10, 15 feet wide? So they shot all day, both of those scenes with all of those extras in costumes and all that stuff in one day, which is, I thought was pretty awesome.
Pretty impressive, yeah.
Yeah. The Enigma machine they had was a real Enigma machine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And they had there was the scene they said was the biggest problem for them was the one where Cumberbatch was frantically like when they finally figured out the code, the machine stopped and they ran over and like were plugging in the everything to the machine to get it to give the code. The the insurance / guy that worked at the museum that the Enigma machine was at, he was right off this camera, like sweating the entire time, like telling him, like, hey,
No, careful.
And they're like, all right, we'll settle down. And then like they'd take Cumberbatch, just like, you need to be more frantic. You need to look like you really want to get the thing.
Like you're gonna break it.
Yeah, just don't tell the guy. Just try to like, and then we'll like do it for 3 seconds, and then we'll get like a really good shot of it, and then the guy will run over and stop you, but we'll use the 3 seconds.
Nice.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so I mean, they're kind of being a little reckless with historical artifacts.
Well, and you're right.
but-
There's sort of another parallel to the King's Speech where they were using these actual things, like they had rebuilt the microphones and things like that in the King's Speech to have the actual like equipment that was being used.
Yeah. What else we got? So I'm going to skip over. Oh, there were a couple shots. This was pretty cool. There are famous shots from World War II that like pictures that they recreate. Two examples that I wrote down. Like a lot of the war shots are just random looking shots of war.
Mhm.
Two of them that I wrote down were there was a scene where a woman was making tea on a pile of rubble.
Mm-hmm.
That's a famous like a
Interesting.
photograph from World War II. And then there's one where a bunch of kids are lined up with gas masks on in like school uniforms. Also famous.
Oh yeah. That one I found that one pretty striking. I thought that was, but I still didn't.
I mean, I didn't know those pictures, so it didn't really hit me, but it was cool. They were trying to like recreate things that actually happened.
Yeah, I did. I felt like again the sense of war and terror and all of that wasn't really hitting in the movie, and I don't know what. Again, I don't know if that was just me or if it just like they didn't. They were just like, oh, here's the war. Remember war. Okay.
Oh, by the way, there's war going on.
I don't know if you felt that way, Denny, or if that. I mean, you liked the film more. Maybe you felt more.
I think this is one of
pulled
those
in.
movies. I don't know how to categorize them, but it's one of the ones that kind of you need to kind of submit yourself to it emotionally to get into it. And I'm able to do it in this movie. Like I don't know, like movies that aren't necessarily good movies, but they get you, and you kind of feel ashamed a little bit for liking them as much as you do.
It's a bottom movie.
What do you call it?
You got to be a bottom.
A bottom?
Yeah.
Like a power bottom?
Yeah. Well, it's like you could be top or bottom.
So the movie is on. So the movie is on
Usually.
top.
The movie's
usually-
there. You're gonna take
I
it.
think that's the most insensitive joke you've ever made before, John.
You're gonna take this, he said. Oh, jeez, John.
That might be the.
Shit.
I don't know. You were using words like
Submitting himself
You're
emotionally
the one
and
that was
physically.
talking about. You're talking about submitting yourself to a movie. So I was like trying to come up with like I don't know what the dominant and submissive
Some kind of sex
sort
joke.
of culture is, where
Jeez,
like
we went
that's
right
what
to
you got to do.
smut. It's either smut or poop. One of the two.
Yeah, at least it took us a little while this time. I mean, come on, you got to give us credit there.
Right.
I mean, I guess, Denny, what it sounds like is that you were like, I'm going to like this movie.
No, not
At the
necessarily.
beginning.
No,
You're like,
no.
I'm going to like it. I'm going to give myself emotionally.
I'm gonna roll
submit.
over here. I'm gonna put on the ball gag
I'm
and
going to roll over and put on the latex, and I'm going to submit to this movie because I'm going to like this movie. Because
I've already seen 10 other movies like this, and I like those too.
what he says.
I don't care.
Accept me for
I'm
who I
gonna
am,
watch
John.
it. And I'm gonna like it.
Accept me for who I am. I'm submitting to this movie.
I don't know where to go
It's the
from here.
dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I think to try to redeem that point. I think you're right. I mean that's it's no fun if you just like I think if it wasn't about the historical, like what I knew about touring, I think then I could have gone along with it a lot more too.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think I might have said this a little bit, but I went in, all these movies, I kind of always watch them like, oh, well, this could all be fake. They always, don't do a
Sure.
good job in these movies. And then when I left, it was like, reading up on it, I was like, wow, this is pretty much everything the movie was about. So I don't feel like I was lied to the entire time.
Besides
the character
stuff.
parts, right? And I mean,
Right, besides
Which is
the
like
main,
the
yeah.
whole thing.
not really, not to me
It,
at
it
least.
is no, I know, and it isn't. It's just yeah. I don't know. I just then.
I don't know. In a biopic, it should be somewhat thought about.
Yeah. If you make decisions that make the person like less or worse than he actually was, and you do it for dramatic purposes, I think it's still slimy.
Yeah, but they don't do it so
yeah.
much. It's, all the changes are like really small to me, at least. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's
well, there's
slightly
I
more
guess-
autistic than he should.
No, he is autistic when he wasn't. There's a big difference.
But he's not that
I mean,
autistic in this movie.
He's kind of.
not have a sense of humor, not understand people's emotions.
what do
What do they
He's
call
really
him?
Asperger's.
Didactic polymath? Is that what they
Asperger's.
Well,
call him,
Asperger's
right?
isn't a thing anymore, right? It's just a different. It's like the first notch in the autism scale because they redefined it recently or something, right?
But it's or high funcking autism or whatever you want to call it.
So I mean,
right?
they kind of give him a little bit of that, but I know people that don't have, autism and act like they do. Just really socially awkward people and stuff like that. So I don't know. Just adding a little bit of that as like a little flavor to make the movie a little more interesting. Whatever.
Flavor saver.
Yeah, well, I think it perpetuates
this
this
is the
stereotype
conversation
that
they had. This is the conversation they had.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's more of you out there, Denny, than there are you, John.
Yeah, John, you know
Well,
about
that's
this
true.
guy and you love this guy before this movie came out, which has got to be the
right,
small minority.
Right, especially
So when
for
we
an
do
American
when we do the analysis in the pie chart, you got John in this little sliver of red, and then you got Denny in like this huge ding of green.
And it's always good
like,
to have more pie.
It's like, hey guys, it just says right on the thing, it says make it up, and then in the little sliver of red, it says, but
Story,
no,
story, story.
guys, no, yeah.
But it also, I think, it's something else which it's just sort of, it rubs me the wrong way to perpetuate the stereotype that if you're really good at something, then you must be deficient at other things.
And that is definitely an American TV movie thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's an annoying, weird stereotype that I
The
don't like.
autodidactic.
I think it's because there's a whole group of people that are weird and aren't good at things that like to think they are good at things. So it kind of like makes them feel good about
It
themselves.
makes both, and it makes the people that aren't good at things feel good about themselves.
Right, like, yo, I'm wicked smart. I'm wicked
Yeah.
smart.
It's like people
too.
just don't
I'm just like
understand
him,
me.
bro.
It makes everybody happy. You can be like, all right, so that's why I have no friends and no one likes me. It's because I'm a genius. So you got those people go away happy.
Yeah.
And then you got the other people that go, well, at least I got some friends and have a sense of humor, even though I've done nothing with my life.
Yeah.
So then those people
Those
can
go
go away
away
happy.
happy. Right.
So everybody's happy.
Yep, you're right.
Everybody's fucking happy.
Yeah, except
Everybody
for
gets a
John.
happy. Everybody gets a happy. You get a happy. You get a happy. John, you don't get a happy.
No. happy for the
John.
John.
And I deserve it.
That's funny. Yeah, seriously, I'm an asshole. I must be a genius. Right? That's what they think, right?
Yeah, I don't
Maybe.
know.
Hey, people
But
call me
it's-
an asshole. That must mean I'm wicked smart, dude.
Yeah, yep. That's
You know?
right.
Out there getting tuna all day. I fucking learned a thing or two, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He's out there tuna fishing.
so top 250?
Mm-mm.
Nah.
I'm on the fence about this, and I think I might want to because in terms of
Pirates,
Are we keeping
yes,
a
yes.
score? Are you keeping a spreadsheet?
no, should I be?
We should.
I think we'll do this.
This is
We'll
kind of
maybe
a
take it more
throwaway
seriously
question anyway, right?
When we get through
Is
we
it,
get through
though?
the first 50, we'll maybe
If it is
we'll be
250 TC,
reevaluating
then
it.
you will have remembered it and you'll still want it in the thing, right?
No way. I'm telling you, I've got 50 tops of memory. That's it.
Okay, so maybe you should.
So I need a
keep your own.
spreadsheet because
Yeah.
otherwise I'm gonna be like, I have no idea what I wrote on that
But
one.
at the end of every 50 TC, we were going to do an episode where we kind of we do our top 10 of the last 50 we did. So that's where you can record.
Oh, okay,
this.
then I can do like a bing, bing, bing. Oh, bang, bang,
Bang, bang, bang, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, I got you. Yeah, nope. It's
My
a
list
no.
is fantastic.
I go out tuna fish and I come back watching movies. You never know.
So I don't know.
I
I
don't
think
know.
I might put it on the top because I think it's one of the best biopics.
top.
Top 250. I think I might.
So, how many more of those types of movies do we have? So you can compare
It's a
and
good
contrast?
biopic, even though it's one of the, as far as
I mean, how many
it's
other good ones are
arguably-
there? Not that
There's-
many.
You're
saying.
gonna see
That's what I'm asking.
Gandhi. You're gonna see Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of those.
All right. Well, maybe you should wait until you see those.
Well, I haven't, so I'm gonna say now that I think it might be.
All right.
I really enjoy it. I really enjoyed it, and I still do. I don't know. I feel like, and
right.
also it
You
sparked
stand
something.
your ground,
It
Denny.
sparked
You
something
stand
in
your
me.
Yeah, you build that wall, Denny.
No, John. Also, come on. It sparked something in me where it made me want to learn more about
Oh
touring.
no, and no, that's a fair enough point. You know, they made the movie and it was a successful movie, and it filled it with dramatic moments, so people liked
Like,
it. And
I did more research on this movie and like what was real than I did on the King's Speech because I think there is more to read about in this story.
Huh.
Because the
So you're
King's Speech
saying
is
the
like
movie's
one
got to
thing.
be good because it made you learn? I mean,
For me,
the movie's just a movie.
Yeah, we're talking about personal
Well, sure.
experiences.
Yeah.
no, that's fair enough. I mean, arguably, it's like, well, is it better that this movie exists than if it hadn't, in terms of people being aware of Turing,
Yeah,
or the Bletchley efforts and things like that,
Right. And I had
so,
no
you know,
idea,
it's
and
a
it
fair-
kind of blew my mind to realize that happens.
Right, it's a fair point. It's a fair point, man. I mean, that's like, yeah.
Yeah, I just never really was into history, and I'm not a computer scientist, so both of those things just gone. I don't have them.
Right.
So
Yep.
this was like
Right
a
over my
revelation. Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Those are fair points.
Well,
So
I
I
guess
think-
what does it say about me then? Who watched it and was like, yeah, I don't care. So let's
Yeah.
just spin. They get
No, it
numbers.
doesn't.
All right, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Moving on. Next.
Next. Speaking of next,
Which one is next?
Ip Man.
Hopefully one I want to watch. Oh, yes.
Ip Man.
That's a great one. I've already seen
Is
it
it-
twice.
Oh,
You seen it
really? I think I
twice?
saw it a long time ago. Is it?
Oh, yeah,
it's-
it's badass.
Is that how you pronounce it? It's not IP Man.
I think
It's Ip Man.
I think
No,
it's
it's
Ip
Ip
Man.
Man.
Yeah.
It's Ip Man. Oh, it's definitely
Uh,
Ip Man. I've seen them all.
2008. Yeah, I've seen 3 of them, I think. Are there
Yeah,
4?
you should have. Yeah. Dude, he's a great actor, and the action's going to be awesome.
So
There's no
I'm not
reason
gonna.
to like
yeah,
it.
I'll do the same thing. I'm not gonna say what I thought about this movie the first time I saw it. It'll be
Well, that's good.
it'll be a fun one. This is how
Yeah.
Ip Man 2008. Wilson Yip is the next one, and I think you can
All
get
right,
it
some
like
good
for free
stuff.
some places. It
I
was
think
on-
Ip Man might be on Netflix. to
Yeah,
be
I think I
honest.
watched it on Netflix like a few years ago. So I
But
don't know.
I also know that the Ip Man 2 and 3 are on there. So sometimes when they do that, they don't have the original.
Because they want you to hook.
licenses.
And you're like, oh,
Well, no,
number
they've got
two's pretty good.
licensing to the second and third one, but they don't have it to the original.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll have to check in on that.
It's probably more expensive for the original because it's the best one.
No,
probably?
it's just that somebody else owns it already. Usually,
right. Different
Happens with
production
Amazon a
companies.
lot. It's like Hulu has it. Oh, that's it. Moving on. Next
Yeah.
project. Yeah. Yeah, Ip Man's gonna be great. Looking forward to it.
Sweet.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Email us at mission250filmcast.com. mission250filmcast at gmail.com. Go to our website, mission250filmcast.com, and follow our list. We're doing it in reverse order. So you can follow every movie along and see what's coming up next. Rate and subscribe on iTunes. And that's it, I think.
Yeah, that's it, guys.
That's it.
All
right.
One of these days, TC.
See you later,
One
guys.
of these days.
I'm gonna get it in every single episode.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right, next week, guys.
See ya. Bye.